time.
We are live here for our meeting tonight, Columbia School District Board of Directors, Monday, September 22nd, 2025, for our business meeting. Mr. Chairman, take it away.
Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, good news. All right, so I'm going to make this first part short because you're going to hear about it a little bit later on because I do have Mr. Campo here, but I do want to just celebrate and brag a little bit about something I'm excited about. Our new elementary school drop-off lane, which he'll tell you more about later on, has just been a huge success to start the school year. Lots of things obviously going well, but in terms of a planning and design and concept and student safety piece, something as simple as extending this lane really has created a nice flow through of traffic. We no longer have the backup that we've had over many years. It does come with the deletion of some parking spots and adding of new visitor spots, but Mr. Campo will talk to you more about it. He's going to go into what was done and how this was accomplished, but I just wanted to celebrate that whole morning part and that corner of our campus, this really has become something that's just gone, couldn't have gone any better. Parents have understood what we're doing, they're complying, they're pulling through, they're not stopping and waiting and getting out, and this really has increased the flow of traffic and safety for staff, students, and our community. Our buses are getting through in the lanes, so again, I'll have Sean talk a little bit more about it later, but I just wanted to brag a little bit about and say this is something that we've been thinking about and talking about. How do we solve this? And finally took some time and energy into kind of the redesigning the scope and project of this, and it really couldn't have gone any better. So just wanted to celebrate and brag about that for a moment.
It's an area that needed to be improved somehow.
Yeah.
Okay. Oath of office for student representatives.
We did it.
Oh, board operating?
We did that.
Oh, you're looking at last time.
We're looking at the minutes.
Okay. Sorry. Bear with me. Board operating principal review.
Yep.
Okay. Board, I'll take care of that. You do superintendent.
Gotcha.
Okay. The board shall have no contact or conversation with anyone concerning the matter being brought forth. Question in a fact-finding manner. Board hearings contain information that can be emotionally charged. Decisions that are made regarding the issues, however, should not be. The board chair will conduct the hearing. Evidence will be presented to the board by both sides. Each board member shall consider the evidence and only the evidence presented during the hearing process in making a final determination. The formal determination will be communicated to the appellate, how do you say that? Appellate. Yeah, I missed one there. After the conclusion of hearing and before deadlines specified in policy.
Superintendent, compile and present all information in a factual manner. Advise the board on all policies and procedures that pertain to the matter under hearing. The superintendent shall ensure that timelines and process are outlined to the board of directors. So all regarding board hearing behavior. Thank you.
Changes or additions?
No changes or additions to the agenda. It'll play out right as it is on your green agenda sheet.
Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. We got 8 items.
Make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
For the out-of-endorsement teachers, do we have a plan to to do this every year, to bring some of them into endorsement, or?
So some of these are continuing and they're working through a plan, and a couple of these are brand new from some new folks we brought in this year. I will tell you, those will look a little different for you next year because we're actually changing the format of that, the way that looks. So see that a little bit differently knowing in years moving forward. But to answer your question, yes, we are working towards that new format and looking to encourage those that are in that endorsement to achieve that endorsement so they're highly qualified in those areas.
Of the out-of-endorsement teachers we have this year, what's the longest how many years has the longest one been out of endorsement?
We have several of them, specific to the high school, that we put into an out endorsement area because it's like a one-off, like a PE or a health, but their main teaching piece is like an English or some other criteria. And we do that just because we're small, and it's a matter of just making that schedule work. So
Thank you.
truly out of endorsements, though, those that are teaching their bread and butter and something else, we have very few that are on that for a long term.
Thank you.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Hearing of visitors? Andrew, you got anything for us? Thanks for being here. Reports and discussions?
All right, I'm excited to bring to you two of our three board members. We're going to take you through kind of the start and kickoff of the school year. As I mentioned to you previously, we'll have some different things we'll come to you with, but I told them we'd kind of get started with a soft rollout, just kind of start the year. So we're just going to get some general updates tonight.
So starting with the high school, for sports right now, we have girls volleyball, girls soccer, and boys football. They're all going pretty well, I would say. Girls volleyball, our first league game is tomorrow. It's home against Borden. We also have a JV team this year, an OC team, but that's okay. We don't really need one. Girls soccer, I got to go watch them, and they actually played really well. I think their team. Do you want to talk about soccer? You play soccer.
Yeah, sure. So our soccer team is doing pretty well. We're 3-2 overall, 2-1 in like actual conference games, I think, or league. I don't know, one of those two. But yeah, we have 14 girls on the team. I think it's gonna be a good season.
I think that's the best start we've ever had, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've got a full group, and I mean, it's nice to have a few off to the side.
Yeah,
Because that
no,
hasn't always been the case, as Faith will tell you.
Yeah, last year it was rough, but we still had an athletic girl, so it was really nice. But this year we have three subs, yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool. We only have 2 seniors this year, Mia Leahy and I. So I think hopefully the younger girls will stick with it and we'll continue the program. But
It has picked up steam, so that's been encouraging for that. And Faith is underselling herself because she scored a goal the other day, but didn't want to say it.
yeah,
Good job.
thank you.
Our volleyball team is like mostly seniors, so maybe like come watch games now while we're not that bad. Boys football, they just had a blowout at LaSalle I got to go to. I took some really cool pictures for yearbook, but those boys have been playing sports together for a really long time. And I know a lot of them personally, and I'm really excited that they're now getting to play better together. I feel like they're a lot more of a family. You know, they lost some good seniors last year, and I know that it was really emotional for a lot of them, but I think they're still doing pretty well with the loss that they had. And they have a game this Friday. It's away. I'm pretty sure.
Was it against Warden? I think it's Warden.
The next home game is the 3rd. I know that. I'm pretty excited. Yeah. For others, we just had a pep assembly. It was pretty fun actually. We talked about sports a little bit, and then we did some games. It's pretty cool. Yearbook. I want to talk about yearbook because Miss Kelly has taken it over, and I think personally she's doing a really good job. She obviously doesn't super know what she's doing, but she's very open about it and is really open to feedback about it. And I think we've got to start like working on our pages and stuff, and I think it's going really well. I'm really excited. We got to pick our theme, which I'm not allowed to tell you, but it's really good. It's really good, and a lot of the pages look really cute already. For clubs, we have FBLA, Honor Society, FFA, sorry I didn't capitalize the A, FCS, Drama Club, and D&D. None of them have really done much of anything yet. It's just the start of the school year. There's been a couple meetings, but just mostly picking their president, vice president, that sort of thing. But nothing like major has been
Can
going
I add
on.
something? So as we know, Mr. and Mrs. Zani retired. the person, Mr. Johnson, who took over Miss Ani's position, from what I've heard from other students, they really like him.
Great guy.
He's
I'm a big fan.
I have him first hour for video editing, and he's really fun. He makes class fun. He like lightens the mood, even if it's early. Like I don't want to say he's relatable because he's still like strict with us, but he's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, I know the kids really like him, and like he like explains stuff and doesn't like get mad if you ask a lot of questions. And then Tavis, I honestly don't know his last name. I think
Something
a lot
like
of people call him Mr. C. So Mr. C, I TA for the office 4th hour, and so when he is there, he's just, which he's rarely ever there because he's always out and about. But I've always seen him at soccer games. He's always there, which I really, really appreciate. And so, yeah, I just really like the new additions to the school.
Yeah, they've been really friendly and positive. Not that the Anis weren't, obviously, everybody were friends, but it's nice that they're not being strangers. It's like they've been here. It's really nice. And Mr. Johnson, I'm in FBLA this year, and he has a lot of really great, achievable expectations, I would say. But I think it's gonna be good. Middle school, girls volleyball, boys football. Don't know how they're doing. Oscar's not here to present this, but.
Well, I can tell you, Brad, the girls' volleyball, boy, can they pack a gym at that middle school.
Wow.
It is like, they absolutely, we played Othello the other day. It was hard to find a seat in there. So it was great to see that many folks show up for middle school volleyball. So they obviously got a decent number. They continue to pull out each year, and Bobby's doing a great job working with their coaches. She got a couple new coaches, and middle school girls volleyball, they're fun to watch. They're still kind of learning and growing, but they're very competitive even at that level. So it's fun to see.
I talked to one girl on the team, and she told me she could get her serve over, which is a lot better than I was doing at her age. So that's very promising. For others, new CTE opportunities. I'm assuming that's related to classes. Again, couldn't really fully tell you.
So let me jump in?
Yeah.
So we are looking at this year, looking at some opportunities to bring CTE, our career tech, from high school down to the middle school. We can begin doing this as early as 7th grade and getting funding for that, for the CTE funding. And with the opportunity of bringing Mrs. Clayton into that, we're looking at how we begin building programs and pathways from the high school business all the way down to the middle school to where it's additional funding. But also, if you craft it right, you can start even looking as early as 8th grade to start looking to get some high school credit for some of those courses on that. So if we can build a solid pathway looking through the computer apps and business and the things that Mr. Marble used to do and blend those with that, we're not there yet. Just we're in the initial planning stages, but we're trying to begin to build that out. We can do that in a couple things. We're trying to bridge something with STEAM eventually down the road, but just start working our way down, giving our students more opportunities earlier on some of those pieces. So there you go.
I also know that Mr. Kitterden also goes down to the middle school, which I think is super cool and important. My mom says she sees him there a lot, and she really likes him. So, I was gonna say something else, but I don't remember. So that's super cool. Clubs, they just really have ASB, and I think they're starting to talk about fundraisers, and they've gotten their officers. ASB was really fun when I was in middle school, so I think it's cool that kids are still interested in those sort of things. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. Mrs. Maxwell, it's my class's Europe coordinator from WSU. I know she's been going down to the middle school and working with the kids, and I think that's a really awesome opportunity for them because she started with us when we were that age, and it's, for the most part, it's been really helpful and insightful. So I'm glad another group of kids gets to have that sort of insight and advice.
Yeah, I know Miss Maxwell, she makes everything that she does at the school about them. Like, she finds them opportunities to go do team bonding and just get closer with their classmates, which I wish that I had I mean, I came freshman year, so I didn't really get that, but I don't know. I think it just makes them closer and like not strangers. Even though they grew up together, it just made them so much closer, which I think is an awesome opportunity for newcomers and just the students.
I think it's the 11th. She's going to take a group of 10 students up to Eastern and another one. I don't remember which one it was, but go see a couple college campuses, which will be really fun. I hope I get to go.
For the elementary school, I didn't really find much since it's the first couple weeks, but obviously the first day of school and leadership, I'm in leadership. Curtis has us go with Miss Warble?
Mrs. Warburton.
Maybe? No? I don't know.
First grade.
Yeah,
So Sorbo.
it is. Anyway, we had them last year, and she moves up with the first graders, and so and it's just a really fun opportunity to get to know the little kids, and it's really fun. We go there. We try to go 2 times a week. I know this Friday we're playing kickball with the little kids while it's still warm outside. But it's just fun, like getting to know the little kids and seeing them at like sporting events. You know their name, they come say hi to you, and it's just an awesome connection with the little kids. And I know also in Miss Riley's class, she has a couple. I think it's Justin and Good right now. I'm not entirely sure what they do, but I know he goes down or just helps out in the class, gets to know the little kids. I think they're first graders. But yeah, it's just really fun for the high schoolers to connect with the little kids and just learn their names, show their faces, and I keep saying that, but like, yeah, that's really all that's happening at the elementary school other than the new drop-off lane.
I was in Miss Wilhelm's class when I was in first grade, and she did the whole athlete thing, and it was always so much fun. Like all the girls in my class had a crush on the football player. It was fun when he would come read with us. I know the kids made him there's a poster hanging up in our hallways by the locker room. It says Coyotes and Justin. There's stars all over it. It's so cute.
They're all
I love
over
that
the high
Miss
school.
Riley continued that.
But yeah, that's really all that's happening.
Any questions for our
right
board reps?
now.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you,
report.
guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. You guys got homework? You staying?
I have CBC homework, so much of it.
Thanks for being here tonight.
Hi, ladies.
Okay, enrollment and budget status. Donlin, to go over our enrollment and budget status. Thank you again.
So we will start with enrollment for September. This total includes our TK kiddos, so the total was 748.68.
It's good compared to look at last year. We're maintaining steady. Nice job, Amber.
General fund balance as of August 31st, we're at 2.2 million. Capital projects fund, 280,000. Debt service fund, 289,000.
Come up
ASB
here.
fund, 173,000, 207. And transportation vehicle fund, 134,000.
That is with our latest payment, so. Getting back up there.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Transportation vehicle fund, next August, we'll see another decent payment to pay out some of those last vehicles, so again, we'll be talking when transportation shows up, when and where we start looking at buses again. Okay, moving on to Mr. Campo. I really want to emphasize, I think what you heard our board reps talking about, which I'm very pleased with, was good hires, right? And some good people we brought into the system. Sean is one of those. It's hard to replace. We knew when we were, replacing Gary. It's tough to replace decades of pieces of that, and you don't ever really get that back. But I'm excited. You're about to see some of the things that we continue to work on and just what this looks like for us. We got a lot going on, and a lot of things we're doing really well. And I'm excited for him to talk to you about it, brag a little bit about it. But if you have questions, just ask. Jump in the middle of it. So take it away, Sean.
Okay, well, I'm excited. The summer went by really fast. We had quite a bit of projects going on, but I felt like it was a very successful summer for us. And before I jump into this, I just want to say some of the goals for me when I'm going and I'm changing like processes for us, or I'm trying to add things into what we're doing out there. Everything I'm trying to do is save money wherever I can, but then also I don't look at it as just I'm trying to maintain our facilities. What I want is to maintain our facilities, but also build them up, make them look nice. I want everybody to see that their investment into our school district is being taken care of. And the money in the maintenance, grounds, custodial is being used appropriate and best that we can. So, moving into parking lot restriping. This was the big project this summer. I was super excited about this one. We took on the high school parking lot, middle school parking lot, elementary, and then administration parking lot out here. To have somebody come out and do this, there's a couple quotes here. So one, we had a company come out and it was gonna be about almost $30,000 for them to come out and do everything for us. Another company came out and quoted us at $13,000. The difference between those two is that the $30,000, because they have more than one employee, they have to pay per diem, which is our prevailing wage, which is like $100 an hour out here per person. The other guy below him is the one-man show, so he can do it all for $13,000, which still isn't that bad. But for us to do it, for paint, for stencils, for the new striping machine, we could get our first year in at $11,600. Now, every
Sean,
year.
back up real quick on this. Up to this point, whenever we've done this every so often, because we don't have our own infrastructure for this, we've had to pay for someone to come out and do this. We didn't have the ability to do this on our own prior to this year. So it's always been an investment in someone else to come out and get the work done for us. So continue.
So with that, it ends up saving us this year with the low cost of $1,500. Now, years to come, it's gonna save us even more because the next time we go stripe, whether it's next year or 3 years, it's only gonna cost us $3,200 for us to go out and just buy the paint for it. Because we already have the machine, it only takes us about 3 days to restripe the entire school district. So we'll see a huge saving there. But also, the paint machine that we bought not only can do the striping in the parking lot, but can also stripe like our football fields if our big striper goes down. It can also be used to take around to the buildings so we can spray paint the outside of our buildings and start making those buildings look up to date and whatnot out there too. So it's not just a one-time purchase, it's only gonna get used a couple times every 5-10 years. It's gonna get used more often. So there you see, obviously we'll have significant cost savings over the years, flexibility to be able to go out and spray when we want. We don't have to go off of somebody else's schedule or whatnot, so we can work around the kids when they're here, when they're not here. Yeah. So some pictures here. This is Troy Woody. He's one of our substitute bus drivers. He saved me because he used to own his own striping business. And so he came out, he helped me design and lay out all the lines down at the elementary school, taught me everything I needed to know for going out there and painting the lines, which was great. So he was a huge asset to us.
By the way, that's our new equipment there. Do you like
Yes,
that?
that is our new striping machine right there. Here are some nice bright curbs going down the bus lane at the elementary school. Elementary school before everything was done here. Now, obviously, not many cars could get in there, but yet tons of cars could park in there. And there's the difference. I got to go down and watch this on day one when people were coming in, and it was amazing. I think we had one bus sit out there in the street for maybe 15 seconds waiting to get in, but that was about it. Everybody else was able to get in and get their kids dropped off and get out. It just ran absolutely smoothly. Here's the back of the elementary school. Now, this is what before.
Sean, can you back up real quick? So the net of that, you can see the black lines that used to be there. The net of this, though, is we did lose some parking out front. But now he's gonna talk to you about what we're doing with that.
Hold it though. When mom comes and drops the kids off, she pulls into that area, I mean, do they just kind of stop and the doors open and the kids get out and the car goes and mom doesn't get out, or I mean?
So, yeah, so what they have is they have 3 staff members that are down there. So I believe it's 3 paras or the principal's down there. And they're kind of stretched out along there. They guide everybody to pull down as far as they can. And then kids open up doors, hop on out of the cars. And then mom or dad takes off when the kids are out. And everybody guides them back down the sidewalk. If parents want to walk their kids up to the front, they can pull all the way through, stop in the visitor spots there, or they can pull all the way down to the open spots down at the end of walk.
We've added additional visitor spots. Those that want to pull out, stop and walk their kids, it's fine. But really, I mean, the design was the first half of that. The second part of this is Jillian and staffing it well with people out there. They're literally with vests on there telling people, pull forward, pull forward. Nope, you can't get out of your car, keep going. And it really just took a little education. And now they've kind of got it. It's just become more of a flow in the routine. I want to tell you, like, why? Well, they're just doing it this year. I mean, we used to have some serious backup in traffic there. We're just not having that at all this year.
So it looks like it costs us about 12 spots.
It costs us about 14 spots altogether. But as you'll see here in our next photos, behind the elementary school, the ones to the right there are obviously the ones that have always been there. And you can kind of see the divide. This is where we extended the fence in the back and created more parking space to now look like this. So we went from losing 14 in the front to, I believe we gained 20 in the back. So we actually gained a little bit more back there from the park.
And that old asphalt area was an area that really just was not being used at all by the kids. I mean, it was there, not getting a lot of function out of it. And so it was a good move.
And then also, you can see where the kids' playground is at right there. Once again, this is where the striping machine came in handy of giving us some nice clear areas for them to play, which we still have some more plans of putting in some hopscotches and adding some color to those areas for the kids and stuff to make it a little bit brighter back in there.
Sean got to put the old bike rodeo little number 8 back out there. You see that?
Gotta keep it, man. Gotta have it.
Remember that?
Here's the 4-5 playground. We were able with that machine once again to add in some more 4 squares, tetherball, basketball court back in there. Once again, we'll also get some more hopscotch now that I got the new stencils for that. And this is stuff that will get color also, and then we'll be able to stay on top of this year after year, and they'll have those areas to play with. Front of the middle school, not too much there, but it brightens it up a little bit better, makes the parking lot look nicer. We have the back of the middle school here, brightened it up, took some spots and kind of clearly blocked them off so that way when we're bringing equipment in and out from the fields and whatnot, hopefully people won't park there and we can get in without hitting anybody's cars. Front of the high school, I feel like this one may add pretty huge improvement there with getting all those done. And then this is our district office.
Can you back up one? One more. What's that one parking spot by all the handicap spots there?
For our food service van. There's a sign up front, so that's where we go in the morning and then it pulls right in so it can deliver all the pieces right on. You have it down there because of the ramp and the things that they load in the trays. That's just for the superintendent if they're not there.
Wondering.
So there's food coming from the high school, to the high school from the elementary?
It's made at the elementary. It's made at the elementary first thing in the morning. It's got the bigger kitchen with some pieces. They make some things down there. It ends up at the high school and stays parked there in the morning when kids are coming. That's reserved for that food service van because they're in there doing business there.
Now, I noticed that we took Mr. Woody's resignation. We didn't work him too hard on the striper, did we?
Not at all.
No. He has other business adventures he's going to entertain. He was actually very helpful, and we were grateful for that, but, you
Yeah.
know, he's got some other business entrepreneurial plans he wants to pursue.
Yeah, and in talking to him, he's told me that he's still available if I ever needed him for those kind of projects, whatnot here and there, but, so the district parking lot in front of the shop, we were kind of running into a bit of an issue where sometimes people would park in front of the shop, which was causing trouble for guys at night mostly. So we kind of created just a spot there so people can see not to park there. If they park there, it's not the end of the world, but hopefully that helps. Next, ground clear. So when I first started here, that was an issue with the company that we were currently using, Mountain Spring. We had an issue with them communicating with us because they had a transition of ownership, and they weren't spraying our grounds very well to the point where we ended up stepping away from them. I tried a new company. They came out, Spring Green. They quoted us at $13,000 last year. This year it went up to $14,000 for them just to come out and spray fence lines and parking lots and those kinds of areas, which isn't too bad. Problem is that we noticed this year is they're not as consistent. It's always somebody different. They're not always getting the areas that we need to. Our fence lines are still having a lot of growth in them that we shouldn't be having. So I wanted to start looking at what would it look like for us to take it on ourselves.
So again, you're hearing a common theme of when available, can we invest in our own products and equipment and allow us the ability to do that? That provides a long-term, hopefully, cost savings for us.
Yeah. So for us to go out and buy the equipment and chemicals this year, we're looking at 11.8. So right off the bat, we're already saving money by us doing it in-house. Once we have the equipment that you can see right over there, we'll have a 20-foot boom plus I believe that's a 60-gallon tank on it with a 50-foot hose reel. We'll be set up to do it ourselves, and every year after this will be approximately $3,600 in chemicals. So every year we'll be saving money. That number might go up a little bit, obviously, with inflation, but it's better than going from $14,000 to $15,000 and $16,000 down the road. And it allows us to, when we're doing it in-house, we can spot spray whenever we need to. I can also tailor our spraying to around our shrubs and our trees, so that stuff doesn't get harmed. And all around, our grounds are just going to look better maintained with us doing it. And we can work around children easier than what other companies are gonna be able to. Summer cleaning. So this year, we had 6 buildings. It takes approximately 2 to 3 weeks per building, and by per building, I mean high school, middle school, elementary school. And then our smaller district office and stuff doesn't take more than a couple days usually to get through those. The staff that we had out here were Lou, Alex, Josh, Pete, Bernice, and Larry. They all did a phenomenal job this year. I changed a bunch of stuff on them, and it actually worked out better for us. So in years past, how we would go through and clean the schools is typically all the teachers at the end of the year would grab their students, they'd pull all their furniture out of their classrooms, and then we would come in, we would clean the classroom top to bottom, and then we'd go move everything back in. Problem with that was that it takes too much time for us to walk down the hall, go grab furniture, bring back in. So one of the things that we changed this year at the elementary school, we're kind of trying it out, is leaving the furniture in the classrooms, but just putting it on half the classroom side. We can still clean all the walls and everything, vacuum half of it. Once that's done, you move the other half, the furniture over to the other half, and then you can go ahead and take care of that carpet on that side. And that saved us a ton of time. And we became more efficient. Usually we have cleaning the classrooms, we have 3 custodians cleaning the classrooms, 1 custodian fall behind waxing. And then also, in the past, they used to do striping, but the best I can find is it looks like about 15, 20 years ago, we kind of stopped doing the stripping of the floors. So when you go into like our high school, you can see that those floors, they look dirty. Even after we get done putting wax on them, they just don't look the greatest. And it's supposed to be done every 3 to 5 years. So this year, what I wanted to do was get in there, we changed the furniture. I changed, instead of having the 3 to 1 with custodians, I just split it in half. I had 2 people come behind doing carpets and waxing, while the other 2 just went ahead and cleaned. And I found that we actually saved time. We were able to get more stuff done. Carpets, we're actually shampooing them. In the past, they weren't being shampooed. They were just being kind of washed with water. And so we're seeing cleaner classrooms out of that. And then there's a classroom, Miss Kelly's. We did a trial run of stripping it. I'll show you some pictures here in a minute where it looked pretty bad, and the end finish was amazing. Night and day difference. And that's what I want our schools to look like. And eventually, we'll start kind of putting in something together for all the schools to slowly go through and start improving all of that. So this here's Miss Kelly's room. This corner of it, she had these risers in here. And you can kind of already tell the difference in colors because those risers have probably been there since the remodel happened, so early 2000. That's what it is without them. Once they're able to get everything cleaned up, you can clearly tell the side on the left hasn't been waxed. The side on the right has been over the years, and that's that dingy color that we get, that we see throughout all of the school. After, not the greatest picture, but 90 difference, you get a nice glassy shine to it, and it is white as white can be. It looks brand new. If you were to go walk in there right now, you'd tell 90 difference. Okay, Helix Intel. I'm excited about this one because I know that when it first came on, we had fire systems break, all this kind of stuff, and preventative maintenance issues. Well, Helix Intel reached out to us and informed us that the insurance company that we have pays for this. So at no cost, we get this system. This system makes work orders.
Brand new this year. It's not they've been doing it for a while. Something new they've invested in, and we have the opportunity to take advantage of this.
Yep. The work orders are much easier. Teachers just use their Google sign-on. They log in, click work order. They can put a title to it, a description. They can add a picture to it if they want to, a completion date. And then also there's a drop-down bar where you can drop down, select what school you're in. You can go all the way down to what classroom you're in there, and then you just hit submit. It comes to me. I then can take it and approve it and then distribute it out to my team members of who needs to do it. I'm in the process of going through, and I can put all the information for all of our water heaters, our boiler systems, our HVAC systems, everything into this, so we know exactly where everything's at, how old everything is, what's running, what's not running, what's got issues, what doesn't have issues. But then also it allows me to set up preventative maintenance tasks, so I can assign them to myself or anybody on my team, so that yearly tasks, or if I need a weekly inspections done, it'll automatically remind us weekly, daily, yearly, whatever I have it set up for, so we can stay on task of whatever preventative maintenance that we have.
Well, this was part of something Sean's been working on for a couple of years. In the process of this, we've talked about how do we capture the history of what we're doing from one year to the next. If people come, people go, you leave these positions. This is that product that we begin building that historical piece. When he talks about the history, preventative maintenance, he has the ability through this new program to go in and build, hey, it's this time of year, we need to make sure we're doing this, dealing this with the dampers, turning these on, doing these, checking this, making sure we're closing this, opening this, doing all that stuff. In addition to the work order stuff, this will build us the calendar yeared history, maintenance of all the things that happen and occur here in our district. So we've looked at several different products. There's been things why it didn't work out for us, worked out for us. We stumbled across this, he liked it, and it's free. So let me back up. It's not free. It comes as part of our insurance package.
Which went up 25% this year.
So, but we're gonna take advantage of that. Let's just say that.
Well, but the fact that they offer it must mean that for us to use it will save them cost and save us cost.
Well, they're excited about us
Yeah.
doing that, right? I mean, they, like everyone else, don't want us to have issues. I mean, that, so if we can, but we're excited about it. Andrew and Murr have actually been helping Sean and networking and trying to work together to get this all in our system. And so, we haven't talked about this lately, but those things we talk about in terms of long-term projects, we've got a lot of these still things going on in the background, and I was excited for him to share this with you guys today.
That's a good one. We've been talking about it for a while too, on the freeze protection stuff that, you come on board, Gary knew all this stuff. how do we memorialize that in a way to where it's, you know, we don't have issues down the way?
Yeah, and I think this is gonna be real helpful to us, especially if I'm on vacation or something like that. Everybody in the admin office will have access to be able to go in there and see those types of things if need be or whatnot. It's gonna allow the teachers to communicate with us, so if they submit a work order for a broken door handle in their classroom, all they have to do, rather than calling me or emailing me, they can just go to the work order that they submitted, and they can see in there if I'm ordering parts, if we're waiting on something, whatever it might be. There's that communication between maintenance and the staff that are submitting the work orders, so it'll be a good deal. And with that, any questions?
Sean, if you need, this is kind of one of my old pet peeves. If you need $20 worth of hinges, parts, and screws from Ranch and Home, who I call Ranch and Rob, that's another story. Would you go get them, or would you have one of your underlings go get it, or what?
Typically, it is me that goes and picks them up.
Okay. I always kind of struggle when I see Gary in there, because I think, you know, Gary could be doing more valuable things on campus and just send some, you know, understudy to go drive in that, but anyway, that's kind of.
I don't disagree with you in that, but the problem I end up having is that my custodian / maintenance people, I need them here doing most of the custodial work, and then my grounds people, I mean, those guys are doing an amazing job out there running nonstop every day, and so you know, I feel like it's, yes, there are things that I could be doing here that would be better dealt with my time, but at the same time, as a team effort goes, I feel like me running to town is not gonna make or break it. Typically, I try to plan it out to where I don't like to go to town every day. I don't like making trips, it's a waste of time, it takes an hour or more for me to do that, so typically what I'll try to do is get a list of things together, go down and make one big shopping trip, or if I can, I try to order things so that I have, like hinges. I like to try to have hinges on hand here so that I don't have to go down there, or like our toilet supplies. I don't have to go every time we have to fix something on a toilet, because there are certain things that are staples that I feel like we need to have here. And so that's kind of how I try to combat that as best as possible.
Thank you. For the things that we took on ourselves, like the striping and the lawn maintenance, for the time that we use our people though, do you fear that, you know, last year those people wouldn't be doing those things so they'd have time to do something else? Could we fall behind in some other area because of that, or you're a good enough manager that won't happen?
Well, I'm not gonna say that I'm the good enough, but that is something that's on my list of things to pay attention to, right? So when it comes to the striping, that is one of those things that I probably take on myself, just because I have a flexible time and to be able to take care of that. And I don't mind it. It's actually fun to do and go out and play with the machines or whatnot. And I don't mind staying longer to take care of that stuff. Now, when it comes to the spraying out there, yeah, if we fall too far behind, it could become a struggle. But at the same time, I already know what times of year I want to be putting down the applications, and those times of years are typically when we are slower anyways. We're not mowing as much, the grass isn't growing as much, so managing everybody's time for that, I don't feel will be an issue.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, Sean. Thank you.
All right. So WASDA Conference, November 20th through 22nd, Thursday through Saturday. Reminder, it's a new location. It is in Seattle, Washington this year. They used to do it in Bellevue, but they ran out of space there, so they moved to the Hyatt Regency in Seattle. Currently, Michael and myself are already registered. If anyone else wants to, you should make sure you get a hold of Nakia, and she can work out registration for you. So bringing it up, this is last chance. Let her know if that's something you're interested in, WASDA. Moving on to school opening report. I'm just going to shorten this up a little bit. Just a reminder, to kick off the school year, we had our professional development days on the 27th and 28th. We spent a lot of time working on, you've heard me talk about Parent Squared, the communications. We did a lot of staff training with that. So our teachers are just getting started, but you're beginning to see, hopefully, if you're a parent, messages coming home posts and things going on within the classroom, but excited about the work we're doing there. Today we continued, Dr. Lisa Hoyt was on site. She's here today and tomorrow working with our building MTSS teams. So we're continuing on our transition from Tier 1. Reminder, Tier 1, all kids get. Tier 2, we're getting to some kids get. It's that next layer. We're moving to that second layer. I've always promised we'll be getting there. We're at that spot where we have some buildings transitioning from the all kids to some kids, getting additional supports. We're building those pieces in there. Just a lot of professional development to start the year. Reminder, our fall iReady math and reading diagnostics, all those initial screeners you get at the beginning of the year. Students are in the process of finalizing those. This is that jumping off point where they start the year. Working on that in the classrooms. We talked about fall sports. I won't get into that, but it's an exciting time for our student athletes. Our district MTSS team is working hard, and we're preparing we have a meeting with our district MTSS team tomorrow, but we're planning for our October 3rd waiver day. So this is one of our 2 waiver days that we get for professional development. The primary what we'll be working on, I guess is what I was saying, on that waiver day is preparing for that first year of district-wide conferences. And you've heard me briefly mention that to you before, that we are conferencing with all students K-12 for the first time this year. And really the emphasis is we're expecting all kids to show up. Now, we're probably going to fall short of that, but the important part of that is if students don't show up, you can see there, we're going to create alternate activities so that we catch them when they don't show up the following week. So in other words, you don't get a pass out of this opportunity. The idea is we have stuff to share, whether it's primary, middle school, or high school, and it's the content that we want to make sure every student's having. And if a student doesn't show up with a parent, we're going to give them the parent the following week, and they still get to have that conference and go through that opportunity. Because what we have is important enough to share and talk about, including, which we have not done at the secondary levels, where we're again blending what we call our high school and beyond planning into those pieces where we're forcing our students and our families to engage in post-secondary, whether it's college, career ready, technical trade. There's pieces we have to put together as a grad requirement, but we're building this intentionally about those conversations. So, do I expect there might be a little grumbling if someone doesn't want to show up for some of these and things like that? Possibly. So don't be surprised if you get that. But we believe what we have is important enough to continue to build more communication points on what students are doing the older they get. We believe that's more critical than ever. You need to be talking to students and parents at the high school level, not saying, no, thank you, you don't need to come in. So we're asking all of our students to come in, and when they don't come in, we're going to provide an opportunity to still engage in that conversation the following week. Okay, questions on that? Okay, I'm going to shift, and we're going to move to our last report item, which is a levy report. So this is a group participation piece that I want to engage you in because I'd like for us to have a decision and guide me one way or another. I will certainly give you my pros and cons and my thoughts on this, as I should, but I'm looking for the board to direct me one way or the other on this, okay? So, levy and bonds. As you know, we've got a levy coming up, but before we get to that, our regular levy in February, we're gonna talk more about next month, okay? This is something different. So I'm gonna quickly give you a quick levy and bond overview, talk about our property values and school taxes, because it's important to the conversation we're gonna have to end this, other considerations. So just a quick reminder, EP&O used to be called our maintenance and operations on the far left side reminder. That is the things that support our basic ed, athletics, extracurricular, the arts, you name all that stuff. Anything that goes above and beyond basic ed, we collect up to 4 years, 50% majority. Capital levy, I look to my right, this is Andrew's tech levy. This is where we get our Chromebooks, the infrastructure, the backbones, everything that we have, whether that's software, hardware, you name it, including our employees. That's where we pay out of our capital levy. We do not have a school bond right now, okay? So, the last time we passed our capital levy and EP&O, I want you to look to the far right side in between the two numbers in red. You can see the capital projects levy, which we got 56.63% passage rate. EP&O levy is 56.61. Those are both 4-year levies. Those will be coming up again in February. We're looking to do that, but that's time to come. We'll talk about that later. Just want to show you, those will be coming up. But that was the last time our community passed that. I'm gonna get up because I'm probably gonna move around here a little bit in case there's questions. But EP&O, reminder, it's the old M&O. You can see the second one down, formerly known as maintenance and operations. What's key on this one is, don't forget levy lid laws. When we get the money for our EP&O, we get $2.50 per thousand of assessed value, or highlighted $2,500 per pupil, adjusted by inflation in 2025, because you're awarded the lesser of the two. Okay, we don't get the $2.50 because our enrollment's down. We get the $2,500 per pupil based on enrollment. So just remember, you always get the lesser of the two, and I'm going to explain why. You'll see in a picture how that plays out. Any questions on that part? You just need to understand that part I highlighted there, because that's critical about what we're about to talk about.
So not only do we not get the 3247, we don't even get the 2,500.
Yes, and I'm going to show you a picture of that, because it's based on your enrollment, your pupils. You're getting the 25 per pupil. We are getting the 2,500 per pupil, and I'm going to show you that. Okay. So this is just if you're looking at Washington State. I just wanted to show you this for EP&O. We hit another blip there in 2025. This is across states, all across. So this is just showing you what people are passing across our state. We're still doing pretty good there in the 90s, dropped the 80s and went back up to 93. For some reason, 2025, dropped to 75%. Interesting. So I just want you to see that's across the state.
But that's bonds and levies, though. That's everything.
This is EP&O. This is just M&Os.
Okay.
So just the EP&O levies, not bonds. Capital projects, reminder, you can do up to a 6-year. We only do a 4-year. Common use, we currently have a tech levy. Some people do things for safety, security capital, transportation. Right now we have a technology one. Same slide. This is for capital levies across the state. So they're at 77%. Still need a 50% percent to pass, but that's what they're passing. Okay? Now, why this is important, take a look at our property values and school taxes. You can see the last several years when we were trying to pass these, we were talking about property value. You can see people we were in here, we're talking about just what's happening. Again, this is Walla Walla County, specific to, but what was happening here? We were caught in this spot where we had all these assessed values were just skyrocketing. And keep in mind, the values of people's homes may continue to still go up, but we've kind of plateaued in terms of our bonds assessed value of what we've got going here in our district. It's just kind of plateaued. I mean, it's still going up slightly, but it's certainly slowed down. So this is our assessed value. So if you look at that, if you remember I was talking to you about if you pass your levy, right now Washington State, you can collect up to $250. And I said you get the lesser of that too, right? Because you get the less. So what this is showing is if we collected at that full $250, this is showing what we would have collected. But because we get the lesser of the two and you collect by enrollment, this is what you hear they call your rollback, right? So if we were collected at max at that $250 where the state allows us, we would be collected up here. We're losing about $1 million off that because of the enrollment. We get the less of that. This is what we collected last year in that EP&O. Okay, questions on that?
Why do you show 2026 at the full amount, though? It should.
That's just a projected at what we could collect next year. These are just, that's just a projection. They haven't figured out the rollback on that, Michael. That's just a could be total collection piece. We don't know the information on that yet. Corey threw that out there as that's what that number might look like there, but we don't have the total collection or rollback. So I guess you could just forget that for right now.
Well, but it's gonna look a lot closer to the 2.5 million.
It will be.
3.6 million.
Yeah, and that's why it wasn't intended to show that. It's in a different color.
Okay.
So I'm sorry if that confused you on that. Corey and I were just talking about what that preliminary number could look like in terms of total collection. Okay, so let's look at what we control. This is when we talk about local taxes and school taxes. What do we have that we still, that voters have control over? The EP&O levy and the tech levy, which you can see at 204 and at 34 cents for the Andrews capital levy. So reminder, I said you're collecting at the lesser of that piece. So this is paying $2.04 per $1,000 of your home value. Okay? Same thing with the tech levy. So the two things that we vote on and control in terms of people saying their taxes here is $2.38 per thousand. Okay? Now, I need you to see this part because I've talked to you a little bit about a shell game back when McCleary came through. And there was this thing right here. I want you to look at this. Our levy we've passed in the past for the last how many years has been right at that 330 line, right? And you see we couldn't collect because we started getting lesser right here. Washington State, when we had the McCleary happen, said, nope, we're going to cap what you can collect locally because there was a lawsuit against the state saying that the state's not funding it, local funds are doing this. So they capped what we could collect locally, and the state imposed a secondary state tax so that the state could say, we're funding public education, not locally. They wouldn't allow us to collect. Even though we passed at $3.30 per thousand, we were capped. That year, you see the $1.50. The next year, they said, ooh, we went too far. We'll let you collect $2.50. Okay? So that next year, we rebounded with our levy, because remember, our voters passed at $3.30. We were able to collect at, went from $1.50 to $2.50. But then because of our enrollment, they started cutting it back. And you can see we're now at $2.04 based on our enrollment. Because you get the lesser of the two, not the other. Okay? You still follow me? So I'm going to show you the second taxes, which is the complete state tax piece, which now has all the school taxes that you get. We've always paid what you call state school tax 1. That's always been there. You can see that it's always been there throughout the history. And then McCleary came in, and that's the year they cut back. But they instituted that state tax because they were in a lawsuit right there, and they added a tax saying you can only collect this much, but we'll start offsetting that with a state tax so the schools are so the state's paying more. So they took that, played a shell game with it. You follow me? So we control these two. We have no control over this. The state does that. The total taxes going to schools per thousand is that number. So that goes to Michael, the question of what we collect versus what gets rolled back. The rolled back piece would be what we could have collected in there that we no longer can collect. Am I explaining it? You following me? Okay. This is important because this is the picture. This shows what the EPO ballot, what we've passed, what we said we could collect going back to our voters approved this number all the way across. And we've been stuck at 330 for all those years. We keep saying, we'll just keep passing this, maintaining that same rate. And this is what we began collecting, actual collection. Because of the enrollment piece, you always get the lesser of the two. So when it comes down to it, even though they pass us here, we went here, and I talked to you about that year at McCleary. Nope, we're going to force you down here. Oh, we're kidding, you go up $1.50. And now we've played this game of where we're at based on enrollment. Okay, so you still follow me, the difference between the two?
But our enrollment hasn't really come down that much.
It hasn't. But what started is we got set at the 250. We automatically got that 250 because they said, well, we got, because they raised it, you had a lot of districts hurting that year. And the state said we went too far. So they bumped it up, and we had that 230. So they gave us the 250. And then we began slowly carving out this enrollment piece that they had. It's a formula that you get based on that to get the lesser of those two. Keep in mind, we don't have control over it. They look at our numbers, and they fund it based on that lesser of those two enrollment numbers. We haven't done anything to it. It's not like our enrollment's tanking. In fact, as you see it, our enrollment's beginning to level off. We're actually doing okay. Okay, you follow me on this? This is important because you understand what they've passed versus what we're actually collecting. Because new in 2026, this last legislative session, the Washington State Legislature passed House Bill 2049. So I found this out a couple weeks ago talking with some finance folks. And this new bill in 2026 allows a school district to up their maximum per pupil limit for enrichment levy purposes as follows. The maximum per pupil limit is increased. They put an inflation factor of $500 per student above the Seattle CPI, which is the Consumer Price Index, okay, for all school districts in the calendar year. So what this basically means was schools had gone to legislators, and you had people in the legislation that said, we know there's a lot of schools hurting financially. You see them out there all the time. And the state said, we can't give you any more money. Now, I'm interpreting this, keep in mind, I'm trying to make this short. That's not exactly what was said. But they said, we're not going to fund more at the state, but we will allow the local school districts to go out and ask for more. If you want to go out and ask for more because you need more at your local level, we'll give you a way of going out and getting that money, but we're not going to give it to you at the state level.
So we're really getting back some of the control we used to have.
So what they're doing is, they've given us the ability, that 500 per pupil, to say, do you want to collect some more of this if you have the opportunity to do this? Now, some schools don't have the opportunity to do this because they pass levies still at the $1.50 or at the $2.50 right here, right? And that's where their levy is. We've passed this all along up here this whole time. So there's this buffer now of new piece with this new legislation that would allow us to collect that $500 per pupil. That would, I'm gonna give you rough math, don't quote me on this, okay? But Corey's done the math for us, he's looked at our taxes and all that stuff, would create roughly, we'll say at least around $400,000 for the district this spring and April, if we wanna do that. Okay? But it comes because our voters have already passed this at 3:30. So, truth in advertising, we don't even have to go out and ask for it because they've already approved it. Does that make sense? But, let me show you some others. Where are we at with others around us? You might find this interesting. Take a look at where we're at. This is just showing you currently where we're at, 2025. So this is right here, Walla Walla County. You can see in terms of total tax, these are just our school ones, not the state ones. But you can see we're at 237, and you can see we're at everywhere, the ones that are beneath us, Dixie and Prescott, right here. The ones that are above us, you can see Walla Walla's at $3.66, Waitsburg's $3.56, Petrucci's at $4.08, and even College Place, $3.92. So our taxes, in terms of what we pass with our community, still pretty dang low in our county. Look at it versus Benton County, the ones that are beneath us, even Findlay, that just passed that, they're at 253. Grandview, the only one beneath us here is Kybee. They're trying to pass that because they're working on that EP&O right now. Patterson, that's it. Prosser and Richland are both higher. Taxes are pretty low. I'm not insinuating that we have to or should, but I'm just showing you, truth in advertising, our taxes are not outrageous here in terms of what we control and what we've passed for our community. So I come back to this part. If we decided as a board to say, I want to go out and collect the maximum taxes that we can by law with this new piece, okay? If we did this, it would move our taxes beginning in 2026, and again, we can adjust as we go on, but it would take us from 204 to about 234. It would be about a 30-cent increase in tax they would see in April. Per thousand, thank you. What we would have to do is bring a resolution. Corey would help us draft that. We literally bring it here. We have a resolution. We send it on to the county. It's done. We can do that. We don't have to. My question to the board is that something we feel like we want to take advantage of? My advice, because you're probably going to say, what should we do? How do we want to do this? There's several factors I think we need to include in this. One being, do we have a plan and a project in mind for this? I wouldn't come and say, hey, we can collect anywhere, even if, let's say you say collect the max 400, 300, 200, 100, whatever that is. Without a clear plan, what should we do with this? Todd, I want you to go out and fix those bleachers with that and go get that done. I want you to do something with the elementary water. I want us to do something. I would suggest if we did that, have a plan, a purpose, and a project for why we're doing this, and go collect that. The other thing we need to carefully consider is we're running a levy in February. Okay? So what is our messaging to our voters when we run to them in February? If our messaging is, hey, we're going to ask you for the same, we're not planning on raising any taxes, we're just going to ask you to keep doing what you've always done, then I think we need to look at this differently. Now, we would do that vote would occur in February. They wouldn't see that tax increase until April. But to be honest, truth in advertising, I want to keep our public's trust in everything that we do. I'm not, certainly not suggesting we go to them saying, hey, we're going to maintain our numbers. We're going to do what we always do, but yet raise their taxes in April. Is all that making sense?
It's about $90 on 300,000.
The full amount? Roughly
The 30 cents,
30 cents?
so that would be the effect on a tax bill to somebody with a $300,000 home.
I don't think that we should ever say we're going to ask for the maximum amount. We should never say that. Even if we do it, we shouldn't say it in that way because everybody gets their back up. We talk about these numbers for hours and we barely understand them. 99% of our voting constituents, they don't understand all this.
Correct.
And so we have to have this honest, truthful soundbite that says, we're gonna ask for what we need to fix the things that need fixed and maintain the programs we have. And just stop. And then if somebody says, what happens if we don't support it? I say, well, then we need to go in our time machine back to 1995 and ask this man and this man who were students then how miserable it was. And it was miserable. We only failed by like 8 votes when we had a 60% supermajority requirement.
I'm worried, I'm hopeful in what I did is at least explaining you understand the predicament we're in, that we can take advantage of this, take it, or leave it, and what that impact means for how we communicate our next levy vote.
Well, when you say 25, I mean, we're already fixed for 25. We're collecting what we collect.
Correct. If we came with a resolution, that begins in 2026, which is why you won't see that, the voters wouldn't see anything, we did this resolution until April, because you start January, you had that first collection in April.
Well, no, they would see it when their tax assessments got mailed and received about Valentine's Day. That's about when they come out. They're due at the end of April.
They're due in April.
But the assessments, what you owe in tax for 26, hits your mailbox about Valentine's Day.
Okay?
I mean, we can confirm that with the
I certainly can confirm that, yeah.
tax people.
Yeah, I know they are due, you're correct, in April.
They're due in April, but they come out in about Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I think I remember that, yeah, time frame. You vote a little before that, and then that assessment comes in a little later. Happy Valentine's Day.
I would simply say, 4 years ago, for the EP&O and the tech levy, you gave us what we needed. We've been good stewards. We've maintained things. We haven't had to get an emergency loan from the state like Richland. We haven't had to can a bunch of teachers like Pasco. We're not in near binding conditions like Ki-B. We're asking for what we need and not use the M word.
So by saying that, Michael, I don't know where you stand on this, though.
We should collect, I think is what he's saying.
We should collect, we should ask and collect what we can.
Okay. So I hear you saying we should ask and collect what the voters have approved us to collect.
Well, we haven't asked them yet. I mean, for 26, we haven't put that out there yet.
Well, this would be us
Prior to.
basically collecting what we could on the previous levy that's already been approved. Because they are now saying we can collect more than we previously could.
Correct.
But all that ends at the end of this year. We're in, oh, well,
We have one more year,
we have 1 more year. That's right.
which is why we collect on that. Because
Okay, I'm
we
sorry.
vote in February, and that, remember, goes through December. So you're right, yeah, so it goes through December, which is why we put that out. You would collect that additional dollar on that old levy.
The people's tax bill comes, they look at the total amount. They don't look at what the mosquito gets. They don't really look at the individuals. They look at the total and they look at what they paid last year. And if they got reassessed and there's a big difference, then they scream. And if they didn't get reassessed, it's a little more or not?
Walla Walla County for reassessing right before the vote.
What are some pitfalls with collecting? I mean, what could some of those be? I think you've touched on a couple.
So my main pitfall would be by collecting, I would want to be very careful, and this is me, as we go out to try and communicate what happens with this next levy. I want to be very careful on how we communicate that. I want to be very careful in the messaging that if we collect and they see a slight increase on it, I don't want to lose the trust of the community of someone that went for something that said, hey, you said this would be the same, and now I'm seeing an increase in this. We would just have to craft that and educate them, this is what we're asking for.
Where would we say it will be the same? We'll say we're gonna ask for what we need.
Well, when you advertise and you go back out, I mean, one of the biggest messages that people want to hear is it going up or down? And if we say it's not going up, but in fact, it's going up because we weren't collecting the full amount, it's mixed messaging, could potentially be.
I know, but it's really hard to get people to understand that.
Oh, I know, and,
Oh, yeah.
you know, transparency is the only way to get through it, but how do you?
If we decide to collect, it's just, when we get to it, we have to really tell a story and try and get as many people to understand this is, this is how this is played out and this is what this looks like. And again, I'm okay either way. I'm excited about the opportunity. I tell you, like, there's a part of me that really, like, yeah, we could really do some things that really need done with this. And there's the other part of me that says, don't rock the boat. They passed it. You saw what's happened recently. I don't want to risk alienating anyone that thinks we've swindled them or took advantage of them, and that sets a bad precedence for that next vote in February.
But isn't the big artifact of it though, is that the state has changed how much we can collect and what they tax?
Right there, yeah. I mean, when I said, this is what I've got to somehow make people understand, that it's taken me a little bit for you guys to understand, but you see how long it takes to get through the nuances of what they've passed. I mean, you and I know we could talk forever about this. When I say, hey, this is what we passed, people see this, or people don't see this. This is what people think we've passed, right? They don't understand that there's this space between here.
But if the state magically pulls their levers and makes that difference smaller, what we can collect, that's the state though.
That's what happened to us. We went, when McCleary happened, we were collecting this, 2018, McCleary. When the suit, they said, nope, you can't do that. Mind you, this is the year they added on that additional state tax, because they had to cap what we collect locally. So they have done that to us on many times. Right now, we're doing okay, and they allowed, I know schools are hurting. They said, if you have the ability to, most people are in this spot, most people can't even do this, because they've run their levies down here. So in order to capture this piece, they're gonna have to go out and ask for more.
So why did we run it at 3:30?
We've always run it at 3:30 because our community, we've said that's what we've always done, and it provided us an opportunity, if ever given the opportunity, to collect additional dollars.
Let's try to tee that up a little bit. It gives us the opportunity.
Yep, that's the second part.
And we have the opportunity now.
We do.
So we strategically did this to be able to do it. The opportunity is now in front of us.
They both paid the 330, but we have not been able to do it because of the laws that were in effect. But now they said you can collect more, and we are just now taking advantage of that or taking the opportunity
Correct.
to do so.
Where you guys at? More questions? I mean, we gotta give Todd, I think, some direction here. What are you looking for?
I'm looking for a direction of whether or not, if we want to do this, I need to bring a resolution to you next month.
I think either way, we have to bring a resolution on whether we keep the rollback, that full amount, or we do the new amount.
right, because you have to give them a number to collect anyways.
Yeah, so we have to have a resolution.
Will it mess you guys up to bring both resolutions and we table it till then?
Oh, absolutely, I can. I just gotta work with Corey and get two of them.
Whatever you guys wanna
What
do.
we would probably do, because I'm bringing two of them to you, you would approve one and not approve the other, because I'm bringing two to you at the simultaneously, right? So you're gonna have to reject one and approve another, because we'll put it on both for approval.
You had this conversation with Thad?
Thad was hesitant, but he said he's not here to have this conversation with all of you. And anytime we talk taxes and it's this close to a levy, he's just hesitant.
There was also the option, instead of doing the full, was it 2 to 234 to do?
Yeah, we could put it somewhere in between.
Incremental, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the full amount either.
So I'm making it up. If it's additional 500 per student, I'm assuming we could go to Corey and say, let's collect half that at 250, bring in 200,000 next year instead of the roughly 400, or what he believes that would net us in there.
Well, I'm gonna put you in the hot seat. What do you recommend? I mean, you're ultimately at steering wheel.
Yeah. When I first heard about this, I was really excited, because I was excited about the opportunity. And I still am. I would love to take advantage of that and say, here's what we can do with that. I'm committed to doing that. It would craft and change our language in February a little bit. But I've got a little anxiety over that. I'm nervous that I don't want to upset the apple cart for that February vote. My only anxiety goes back to this a little bit.
Is it something we could adjust after February? Yeah.
You know, keep in mind, we've done okay, and I feel confident. This is what you're seeing at the state this last year with EP&O. And I bring that back with even one more back. That's why I wanted to bring this to you. We've done okay. Keep in mind, our last EP&O, we're at 56. Keep in mind, we're 2 years into COVID, right? We had a lot of tumultuous things going on in 2022. The last time we passed it before that, you see we're in the mid-60s. And this is what we're used to seeing, really. Somewhere in the mid-60s. We're here now, right? So I want to maintain that. In fact, I want this again. That's what I want. But,
Did you hear Haley's question?
no, sorry, go ahead.
Or, sorry,
Crystal.
Crystal, sorry, go.
Something we could adjust after the vote in February?
Good question. I'll get an answer for you. I don't know the answer to that. Do you?
I thought Corey said you could.
Okay. Amber probably remembers that better. We were both sitting on that meeting. I was all excited. I was all excited. She heard that apparently, and I didn't. Because I said, what? We can collect this? I didn't, and so, you know, I'm like,
His brain just went.
tell me what you're thinking more, Crystal.
Just keeping trust in the voters.
Absolutely.
You don't mess with it until, okay, you guys have approved it. You have approved it at those 330, which we have never taken because we're not allowed to. We have always taken at 203, but the state has changed the rules where we can take more of that. And even if we don't do the full 500, we do 250. So, you know, we don't need the full amount, but this is what we need to get projects done around the school district. And then we change it.
So I hear you saying, can we find out, can we pass this and then collect at that rate at a later date? I believe, in fact, I know we can, and even in subsequent years. I don't know if it's you lock in at that 1 year and you go subsequent or change, but I know we have to get something to the county because we would send something to them the following subsequent year after that. So even if we decided, to answer your question, table this for a year, we pass the vote, and then you pass it, and then you come do it after that, I'm confident we can do that part.
What day is the election in February of 26 gonna fall on?
I had that for you.
Second Tuesday or whatever?
It's gonna be. It's gonna be in the middle of February. It'll like,
Going down.
I have it literally, in fact, let me just go back to, I know right where I have it, it's hanging on my board. So, let me just go grab it right there. Talk amongst yourself just for 30 seconds.
Crystal, I kinda like your idea. Split that in half.
Our administration team has done an amazing job of keeping us financially
Right.
in a good spot. I don't wanna lose the trust and make them in a worse spot than they are right now.
Told me to pump the brakes.
Do we need the money? I mean,
That's the other question I was gonna ask is, you know,
Yeah.
what would.
And then
what
on
would
the
we
other
spend?
side of it, that is kind of sad.
So the election date is February 10th. Election date is February 10th, so early February. Ballots are due that day. Working backwards, resolution filing date for that is December 12th, but that's for the elections, not this. This is something separate we're talking about. So the ballots will be mailed out on January 23rd, and they'll certify the results February 20th. So deadline's the 12th, certified on the 20th,
The election day is on the 10th,
February 10th.
second Tuesday of February.
Did we get a recommendation out of you? I feel like you just crawled right up on the fence and sat there.
Sorry, I kind of changed the subject.
I certainly would love to see us take an opportunity to take advantage of what our voters have already told us they would support.
So what would that look like? I mean, this is maintenance operation, it's for operation of the district, so what would 250,000 do for us? What would 450 do for us? I mean, just roughly, I mean, what does that look like? If you don't have an answer, that's fine.
I mean, what would we do with that?
Is it a need, is it a want?
I think we have very specific needs. Those would be the first things I would look at, needs we have across the district. You know, we've documented needs with our bleachers, we've documented needs with our water supply. We've documented, actually haven't, I mean, there's other pieces. I'm not opening this up for you, Andrew, yet, but Andrew's gonna come out with technology eventually with things we've got with our phone systems that are coming up, things like that. We have several needs that we have, that if we're able to do that, we could take advantage of this and not pull from program or other pieces that we have right now.
Are we going to run what we used to call a technology levy in February also?
That would be our plan, continue with our capital levy. Obviously, I can't say what that eventually is because you have the obligation to vote on that, but I would advise you at that time, when we go into that, go in with our 330 and maintain our tech levy. But again, that will come at the will of the board when you vote on that. My goal was to come in that, maintaining that, saying, I'd have to craft that differently, but we're asking you to approve what you approved before.
I would say we're asking for the same things we asked for last time.
Kelly, any thoughts?
I kind of like what Crystal's thinking too.
Instead of collecting the full, maybe half. And, you know, as a,
Well, and you didn't like line out specific things that you're thinking you would use that money for yet.
Our first and foremost piece that I would go to would be our bleachers.
That's about $100,000.
It was $100,000 3 or 4 years ago. So I asked, and I've already got, he says add another 20% onto that. That's us doing the work.
Those water lines gotta get dealt with.
Water lines, yeah. We're working on trying to get quotes for that. We have a company looking into that for us, so I don't even have a quote for you on that yet, but we have people trying to work on getting those done for us, so.
If you do file before, like, next board meeting, will you communicate that to the community, that that's what we're doing, or no?
I would communicate that. The question I would have is, what avenue and what would that look like? Right, I mean, I say that because it's not like I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to figure out what would be the right avenue and how you go about doing that. Maybe that is a communication for, when you're going out communicating elections and some of those pieces closer to that February time. That's when you're gonna have your audience and you're gonna begin talking taxes and people are gonna have an audience to talk those pieces. So I'm hearing possibly bring back some options of resolutions from collecting the full amount to a partial collection. And we would approve one and reject another.
And when you say approve the full amount, approve the amount that,
Approve the full amount that the voters have given us the authority to move on previously.
yes.
Be able to capture that.
Highest legal authority.
Okay? Comfortable with that, and then that will give you time to contemplate. And that will give us another month to take action and make that final decision.
We have to do it next month.
That'll be another one. If there's a way I can move that, I can see. I'll let you know. We have the ability to move around that.
Due to the county November, end of November, but I don't know if the board meeting will be,
If it's too late.
yeah.
I'll have an answer for you on that one, Michael, if that is. I said Thad knew we were having conversations about it, and I know this isn't something to be taken lightly, but it's my obligation, obviously, to give you the options, and I'm not trying to skirt around it. I guess I told you where I landed with it. I feel comfortable with that, confident in it, but there's always still just that, there's that little thing in the back of your mind about is this the right thing? We can all understand that, so. Okay.
There's my.
All right. Okay, pass this. Go back to, just leave you with that. That's what it would possibly look like, right? So we'll work up some of these scenarios and I'll give you a couple options. When we come back, okay? Board calendar review. On October 27th, review waiver training day. That's October 3rd. We're gonna be talking about district-wide conferences. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about that. We'll give you some more updates and information on that. And obviously, at that date, October 28th, we'll have some other discussions, possibly some policy to put in front of you. We'll see where we go from there. Any questions?
I will not be, I will be far away on October 27th. I won't be here.
Can I talk to you ahead of time? You and I at least have a conversation about if your thoughts have changed on this matter prior to that, so I can, okay?
If you guys got questions, just work with Todd sooner than later, just so he can get,
I'll come to you, you can come to me.
because we need to come ready to make a decision, I think, this next
I think we all, as we always do, let's talk through it, but I would like to have a confident, united front going through what we're gonna do as we always do, so.
Okay. Anything further for the good of the board?
So the next meeting is October 3rd,
I'm sorry, there's no, October 27th,
so there's no meeting in early October? Okay.
unless you want me to schedule a study session to review something like this.
Okay, we're adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you.